Hi, this is Dr. Jerry.
And Laura.
And we're here, Challenge Life Better, talk about natural ways to fight infection. Are there such things? Can we actually fight infections with something besides antibiotics or various other methods that are not natural? What do you think?
I think so, yes. Of course, are we talking about infections inside the body or an infection of a cut? I guess it really doesn't matter in a way, you know?
Well, infections are not all equal.
Right.
You may have a small cut on your finger, or you may have a gaping wound.
Mm-hmm.
One may be something that heals up in a day or so, and another one may be infected with MRSA or various other staph. I've had staph twice working with some material that when I was cut, this material, within a day, I was infected with staph. And in one case, I nearly died.
Scary.
It was that bad.
Scary stuff.
Very scary.
Colloidal silver, without a doubt. I really don't travel without my colloidal silver,
I don't
Jerry.
either. I don't either.
Because that to me is a go-to for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something about something that's a disaster waiting to happen, about potential infections and lack of infections and being sick. How many times have you gone into a grocery store or various places, Wally World or anything else, and you find next to the shopping carts this little handed dispenser that either you get an alcohol material or you get little wipes, and you see people wiping their little kids down. They wiped everything down. A good portion of the alcohols used in that have been traced to cancer.
Wow.
And alcohol is such a tiny molecule that it actually penetrates the skin. So you're, let's say the child is 6 months to a year, you're putting this material on a child who has very little immunity anyway at that age. And this is just horrendous.
Yes.
And if you keep wiping up everything, the child will not build some kind of natural immunity. So let the kid get dirty. Let them play in the dirt.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to die. They're going to be in a lot better shape than a child whose mother is spraying everything down because some other kid might have had a snotty nose or something. I mean, good heavens.
Yeah.
Now, what has that got to do with infections? A lot. Because if you don't develop your basic childhood immunities, that follows you later in life, and it really affects your ability to fight infections of all kinds. So moms, wake up, please. Don't do this to your children, because in the future, they're going to need what you're not allowing them to have now.
Right.
And you don't want to be giving your kids something or in contact that could even potentially be a cancerous material. If you don't believe that, look it up. Go on the internet, look it up. There are so many studies now for cancer related to the wipes or the alcohol hand sanitizers. That's where you look to get that information. And that really causes problems. Now, where else do we have the resident part in our body to fight? Where do we get our immunity? Where is that basically controlled?
Our gut.
Our gut. All right. What is the big deal there?
That's it's full of good bacteria and bad bacteria.
Right.
And so ideally we want to preserve the good bacteria, our natural fauna we talked about, and get rid of the bad stuff.
Flora.
Sorry, flora.
Flora. I did that. So I can see these little mice sitting there. We're taking care of you. Oh boy. So anyway, I think if you really want to have natural ways to fight infection, you need to start making sure you are healthy and not just look at it as, okay, now I'm infected, now what do I do?
Right.
Okay, that is a little late.
Yeah.
You really need to be doing this from the other direction. You need to prepare to not get infected.
Right.
Now, that really is difficult in our modern world, because if you are indulging in, let's say, energy drinks, guess what happens when you drink one energy drink because of the high fructose corn syrup? What happens for the next 9 hours, 8 hours?
Blood sugar goes up.
Okay, what does that do to the body? I'll tell you what it does. It virtually eliminates your immunity for 6 to 8 hours. Your immunity, if you take in processed sugar between the next 6 and 8 hours, you basically have no immunity. And so you can come in contact with somebody that has a really bad flu or somebody that has something, and you're setting yourself up to be infected, really badly infected. So that's not a cool thing to do. It's not a wise thing to do, is to strip yourself of immunities, because, by the way, you might cut yourself. Okay, if you cut yourself, your immunity has to help you there too.
Right.
It's not just something that, oh, I don't want to get a cold. It's, I don't want to get infected if I get cut. So that is really, really important. So you got to build that gut. What would you recommend to actually build the gut? So our immunity is stronger. What would be something somebody could take for gut building?
Well, like the probiotics, prebiotics, and as far as food, like the fermented foods, the sauerkraut. I make my own sauerkraut.
My daughter does
that. Miso and but yeah, the probiotics and prebiotics. You got to have that. Do you like the liquid or the powder?
Really, the best thing you can do for probiotics is a liquid. I don't find it very often. It's hard to find, and people don't refrigerate it properly, and then it's just not good.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, you need to be taking something that's in the 80 to 100 billion colonizing units, what they call units, 80 to 100 billion units, and at least 20 strains of bacteria.
Yeah, different
now, you can add to that with Kiefer, with miso, drink some kombucha occasionally. There's a lot of things like that that will help you maintain that naturally without having to spend a lot of money, because a lot of this stuff is very, very expensive.
Yeah.
Antibiotics, probiotics rather, are very expensive. So it's important to find a natural way to do that. And frankly, some of this stuff is really good. I like Korean kimchi.
Kimchi. I forgot about kimchi. I love kimchi.
Yeah, that's a Korean version of sauerkraut, basically. Although I just never have been able to acquire a taste for nuc mao, which is the Vietnamese version, and it has some fish in it too. And I don't have a large enough clothespin for my nose. Sorry, guys, I just can't go there. But it is so good for your gut as well.
Well, I think we can learn so much from the different cultures because they incorporate this into their whole foods. That we have the worst diet. I think everybody would agree with that. The SAD, they call it.
Right.
It's bad.
Standard American diet.
Yeah.
Lord help the countries that start adopting it. It's not good. Well, that's what we have today for natural remedies to fight infection. I think it's so important that you do some reading on your own, because we're not going to come up with all the answers, but we certainly give you food for thought. Try subscribing, and we're here for you, and it is such a pleasure to provide this information. Thank you for being with us, Laura.
Thank you, Dr.
Laura
Jerry.
is a colleague of ours in naturopathy, and we're excited to have her with us today. Until next time, be well.
Be well. Thank you.